Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, on Masechtas Bava Batra, daf Kuf Nun Gimel. We are going to begin on Kuf Nun Gimel, Amud Aleph, fifth line to the top. Hahi Matanda. There was this gift in which the Rashbam says, Amad Shchimira b'mixus. This is referring to a person who is dying. Apparently, therefore, the Matana, we should follow the din of a Shchimira. However, the Havi Kosubo b'chayim v'maves. He ended up writing this interesting language. He said, it should be chal when I'm alive, when I die. So, Rabbi Eimer Hari Kamadas Shchimira, Shmuel Eimer Hari Kamadas Bari. The gift, does it have the halachic status of a Shchimira, in which, as the Rashbam says, the Be'im Omad Chayzer, if he gets healthy, then he gets it back. Or is it considered a Kamadas Bari, that's not the case? So, Rabbi Eimer Hari Kamadas Shchimira, but Mavis, since he mentions Mavis, death, so he's talking about a Shchimira. He wants it to be given over as a gift of a Shchimira. That's what it means. However, the fact that he also says Chaim, it doesn't mean anything. It's just that I should live. Says Rashbam, Koemer b'Mavis davkahu. Mavis is exact. M'chaim lav davka. El Simon Toiv, he just wants to say something nice. He's mentioning his own death. He doesn't want to die, right? But therefore he says, I should live. Okay. This is actually a gift of it as though he was healthy. Since he said the word Chaim, so he's focusing M'chaim Kaimer, that it should be Chal while he's alive. Therefore, it should be like a regular gift. So why does I mention that? It's ki'ilu, like he's saying the words mi'atav yadoilam from now to forever. So Amri Nahardoi, Hilchazakos said Rav. The halacha, in fact, is like Rav, that when a person says b'chaim v'maves, it's considered like a matna shchimira. But if he wrote me'chayim, if he used that language, then he would be kind it right now. Actually, the halacha is not in accordance to what Rava just said. It's obvious. The halacha is like Rav, which is mashma only at the time of the death. So since it's only at the time of the death, because Rav says it's matna shchimira, so obviously he's not going to hold like him. So Madatema mechayim moide Rav. If he says the words mechayim, maybe there he would agree. Kamashmon that there's no chiluk. Hahudi also committed Rav Nachman Harda. It was a person who went in front of him in Narda. Shadri committed Rav Yirmiyah Barabel Shum Tamya. So he was sent over to Rav Yirmiyah Barabba. Omer Hacha Asra de Shmuel Heichinav. What exactly do you do in your city? Kavasa de Rav. So we hold like Rav. Hahida Asoli committed Rava. Person went in front of Rava. Avid ba Avodo Rava Kishmaise. He went like he paskins. Davika Tardale, because he was bothering Rava, and he said, I want it back. Rav Papa, the Rav Chanan, Safre, describes Zil Kosovla, go and write it. Ukosovla and write Soicher Alehen O Maton. That you should hire the other workers or to provide for the other workers. So Litva, what exactly is this? So the Rashbam says that Shahadin Ima, that the din is with her. The Kosev Seif Ashtar, Mishnah Hashnuya, write this Mishnah, that Seicher Alehen Oimatan Vesimin Hayabetech Ashtar. The reason why you mentioned this Mishnah in the Shtar, Shalidchais Haishel Hatainais in the Schaven, Lopater Mlachtai Vihi Havina Bedavar Vikilkaltai. So Amra Litva Arve. So he said the boat is sunk. Atuye Kamatisli. So exactly, I don't understand. how could you lean in this direction? Apparently, this shouldn't be correct. So Shinhu Lamani the Rava Bamaya. So he soaked the Rava's clothes in water and feel hachi lo ifrak mitiva. It didn't cause any change. Says Rashbam, De'al tihi klolos hedit kalbeinecha. A person should not consider the klol of a simple person even light. It doesn't make any difference whether he said bachayim or mechayim. The same din applies. Okay, so that is that piece. That's the next Mishnah. Says Masnisen. Let's say the person didn't write that he was a shchimira. So the question is, was he a shchimira or not? So who oimer shchimira ha'isi? He says I'm a shchimira, and the fact that he says this is because he wants it back, because he got healthy, because umayd chayzer. V'heina oimer bari ha'isi. He says no, you were healthy, and therefore it was a regular gift, and therefore even if you get healthy, the din is that you don't get it back. So who do we believe? The guy, or these who says I was a shchimira, or the other people? So sarcha haviraya shchimira hayed rameir. Rameir is of the opinion that you need the burden of proof is on you. You have to prove that you're actually the shchimira. The Chachamim say there's a din of hamotzi b'chaver of a raya. So says the Rashbam, Sarach HaNoisein, the giver needs lahavi raya sheshchimira haya, that he was actually a shchimira, ba'oisa shah at that moment. B'chol zman shelo yavi raya, as long as he doesn't bring a proof, then zacha hamakabel matana. The Rameir will hold that he actually, the one who received the gift is the one who gets to keep it. Chachamim say, betray gavni mefarish tamayim to Rabbanim and Gemara, raya dahainu makabel matana. This is the one who receives the gift. V'noisein havi muchsak menachasim. To basically go basar, the one who's actually holding the item. Says the Gemara, Hahu matanta dahavi kasaba. There was this gift that was given, and it was written in it, Kan havi katser v'rami ba'arse, that it will be cut when I am on my deathbed. V'lo kasaba umigoi mari ifter lebeis oilamis. But he did not write on it that if he died from this illness. So it's not very clear exactly what was meant over here in this particular writing. As we continue to Kuf Nun Gimel Beis, so he says that Oimer Rava. So Rava's opinion, Hari Mace, says the Rashbam, Anu Royin Shehu Mace. We look at the guy and we say he's dead now. Ubasir Hashnazlin, go after the way it is now. Vehemidu al cheskas misasai. We go after the chazaka of his death. We assume the fact that he died, he probably died of that illness. And therefore, the one who accepted the gift is the one who is acquiring it. And he says his kever is again proof that it must be that he died of that misa. So So Abayam says that we know that the majority of sick people will live. It's possible what happened, therefore, is he actually didn't die of this illness, because most people who get sick will live from that illness. So the fact that he died does not mean he necessarily died of that illness. Says the Rashbam, when it comes to boats, that sink, the majority of the stuff there is destroyed. We take upon itself the stringencies of life and death. As brought down in Perek Kol Get, what is that? Bas kayin l'Yisrael bas Yisrael kayin shneim in oichlos b'truma. So in that situation, if it's a bas kohen who's married to Israel, we have the chumrah of chayim, that maybe he's alive and therefore she can't eat truma because he's still alive. On the other hand, a bas Yisrael kohen, that we assume that let me say it again. A bas Yisrael to a kohen. So if we assume that he died, so then she can't eat truma, right? So that's the case. That's the case, and therefore we take upon ourselves the chomer mesim. We assume that maybe the kohen died, and therefore she cannot eat truma. So chaylin shirov chayim l'chayim l'kol shekain. So when it comes to someone who's sick, in which the majority of such sicknesses the person lives, then we should certainly say that he backed out. Says the Rashbam, as it says in Gittin, Hamevi get memdinas yam. Person brings a get from a faraway place. Then nichu zakin ochayu, when the person was sick, even though the husband was sick, we're not going to assume that he died in the interim. Okay. So Omer Rav Huna Bered Rav Yeshua, come on, Ozl Hada Shemaisa de Rabba. Who would we establish this shita? Karav Nosen. The Sanya mi moitzi miad mi. Says Rashbam, Matana shein kasuba. If you have a gift that's not written on it, lo lashon matana, not a language of matnas bari, lo lashon matnas shchimira kimas nisan, like our Mishnah, za'omer barahis and za'omer shchimira hisi. So who do we listen to? Do we assume that he was healthy, or do we assume that he was a shchimira? So who, the naisain, the giver, moitzi miyadehen b'loy raya, he can actually take it out of his hands even without a proof. The hain and the makabel, the one who accepts it, ein moitzin miyada el baraya, Dev Rabbi Yaakov. He holds that the person who is the giver is the one who basically will get it back. And therefore says the Rashbam, that's it. Rav Nasan Omer Imbari, who if he's healthy, a level of Iraya, Shahoy Shchimira, then he has to prove that he was actually dying. Ishchimira, who if he was dying, then Alein of Iraya Shabari Hoya. That basically whatever is the status of this person, so therefore you'd have to prove that you were otherwise. Amr Belezer, Ulatuma Kamachlekis. However, when it comes to the dinim of Tuma, we say it's like the machlokas. Says Rashbam, Kihecha Nechel Rav Yaakov Rav Nasan b'matana. Just like when it comes to a gift, they argue, I azlinan basar hashta. We go basar now, or basar cheskas nechasim. Hachanami, they argue by tuma. Says Rashbam, she'im ba adam lebeistin. Benishal al shenichnas lebika. A person went into a valley. En yodea matay nichnas. He doesn't know when he entered. Ibi mosachama v'tar. If he went during the summer months, he would be pure. Ibi mosachashamen v'tame. Did I go in the wintry, rainy months? That would be tame. Chazin, and if the guy doesn't know, we figure out. Niata kishin nishal. If when he's asking, it is yumosachama hain, it is in the summer months, tarhu, dazin basar hashta. We look at what it is now. So if it in yumosachama, we say that it's considered to be tahar. However, it's considered, why? Because it's considered like the status of Rosh Hashanah. Says the Gemara, did not bika b'yimosachama rishus hayachid l'shabbos rishus harabim matuma. It takes upon itself rishus harabim regarding dinim of tuma, and we learn out when it comes to a sota, we say that suffik tuma in a tumas yachid in a rishus hayachid is sveikotame, because that sota is a suffix, was she intimate or not, and that was obviously in a rishus hayachid. However, in Rosh Hashanah, therefore, we'll learn the opposite, that Sveiko Tahar. So because in the Mosa Chamor, a lot of people are traveling on those roads, it's considered like Rosh Hashanah, so therefore it's considered to be Rosh Hashanah is Sveiko, is Suffix Tahar. So if it in fact is during the summer months when he asked the question, we go Basar Hashta, and therefore since we have Zin Basar Hashta, so we'll say that he's Tahar. Or Nasin v'im yumosa hagashamim tame the basar hashta azlina. Therefore, let's say he came, as the Gemara says, b'yumosa hagashamim rishos yachin l'kan l'kan, because a lot of people don't travel in there. Therefore, suffix rishos yachin will be tame. So if he comes during It all depends on when he comes. The summer, then it's considered like he's tahar. And if he comes in Moshe Geshomim, he's tamei. Yaakov the Azul Basar Chazaka Hemid Tahar Cheskasai. We put the tahar person on his chazaka of a tahar, and he stays tahar. Unless he have witnesses that prove no, it was during the Moshe Geshomim, and therefore he's tamei. So we basically go basar the chazaka, and therefore the person has a cheskas tahara, and therefore we'll assume that he is tahar. Says the Rashbam, Rishus Harabim Matuma, the Lam Makum Stirahu. That's not, again, a site that can't be in a Rishus Harabim. If she is, obviously, it's not going to seclude her, that's not secluding herself. Most of the Shomim, Shesham Zerayim, there's a lot of seeds and planting, and Nechnasam Osaycha. People don't enter into the Beka. Havi Makum Stira, the Sufik Tomatame. That's the idea behind that. So therefore we're saying that we see this machlokus, whether we go basar hashda or we go basar chazaka when it comes to Indian tuma, so too when it came to the din of the person who is a shchimira. So do we look at is he a shchimira now, or is he a bari now? So based on what he is now, then maybe we'll follow the din, or we go basar chazaka. The only time we say this, says the Rashbam, al bikazu yimos hageshamim mishigad ruha al avroleha yimos hageshamim. If the time has passed, suo pakamine shem rishus yachid. It doesn't lose its name of rishus yachid. Afil mishiagi yimos hachama, even the summer months, petavi oyom rishus kan. Then it's considered to always be like a rishus yachid. Avol avroleha yimos hageshamim rishus yachid kan. So therefore, again, that is another distinction, that if you're dealing with a bika, in which during the Yemosek Yeshamim Mishigad Ruha, which was fenced in, but if Yemosek Yeshamim passed, we say that the Rishus HaYachid status does not change, so it remains the level of Rishus HaYachid. Okay, let's look at question 14. Matana she'in kasuba lo loshen matnas bari lo loshen shchimira pligibo yizlan baser hashno baser cheslas hanachasim ma'u oifen in toma detalia beputta hanal umehem hashitois. So if you enter into a bika and you don't know, did you go in the mosacham, did you go, and therefore it's rishus harabim in suffix is tahar, or you maybe I went in Yosef Geshalmim, therefore we say it's tahar, tame rather. So mandi amadazlin and basar hashda, huadin hacha, the azlin and basar shashanishal. We look at the time that you asked the kasha. So if you asked the kasha Yimosachama, so then we're going to say a tahar. If you ask during Yimosach Geshalmim, we're going to say a tame. However, the one who says bazlin and asar cheskas hanachasim, huadin hacha azlin and basar cheskas tahara the gavru. We look at the person who's tahar, and therefore since he is a tahar person, so therefore we're going to assume that he went in Yimosachama, unless you have witnesses to prove otherwise. Let's see a couple more questions. It's a short daf. TA 17. Ma oimer Rava l'safra. What did Rava say to the scribe? So we had this already on Kuf Nun Gimel and Aleph. L'hai isasa. This woman did tirdale shahaya kaisev but sava, that she wrote in a commandment mechayim umumaves upasik Rava the havli kamatnas bari. That he said that, it's considered like a matnas bari. So what did he say to the scribe? So soicher lehen o maton. So he said this interesting language. Let's just find this again. So he said to the safra, zil kasuba la ukasuba soicher lehen o maton. That you should, based on that Mishnah, hire other workers, or you should be maton. Okay, that's TA 17. Question TB 18. Matana shein kasuba loshen matnas bar loshen shtimira. So it's the same question as we had for question 14. This is Kuf Nun Gimel. Let's see what let me see what I wrote. Safik Toma B'Rishus Harabim Safik Tahar. B'Rishus Yachid Safik Tameh Kesaita. V'yesh Hevdel Ben Yimosach Chama Yimosach Geshamim. Im Ze Rishus Harabim O Rishus Yachid. V'im Yesh Adam Shehu Shachach Matai Oiver Hatbasada Zu. When did he go through? Tali im hu shoyel b'mos hageshamim o chama. The Armina azlin basar hashta. Oh, Tali im noisin es ish hazeh b'cheska shehu ish tahar, and therefore we'll assume that he was he entered b'mos hachama. Adkan.